Hello again. Welcome to the study. Explain this, please. This is number 8. And David danced before the Lord. So why is that such a problem? What does that actually mean? We pick up our text from 2 Samuel 6 and 14. And David danced before the Lord with all his might. And David was girded with a linen ephod. While David danced, now Michal, his wife, she was not impressed. Now remember, she's the wife of the king. And so she is not impressed with what he's done. To her, he's acted in a very unbecoming manner. He's dancing in front of a bunch of people, not something the king would ordinarily do. In verse 16, and as the ark of the Lord came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, and she despised him in her heart. See, at the head of any parade or great procession, there was usually a slave dancing in honor of the one the procession was made. David was no slave. He's the king of Israel. See, the honor was not to a certain person, but the honor was to the God of all the universe. David was bringing up the Ark of the Covenant. Well, David's wife questions him and his apparent lack of decency and that he exposed himself in front of the crowd. I mean, come on, David, you are the king. Why did you do this? Well, 2 Samuel chapter 6, verses 20 through 23 is an interesting idea here, what David is saying. Then David returned to bless his house, and Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, "How glorious was the king of Israel today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of the handmaids and of his servants, and the one of the vain fellow shamelessly uncovers himself." So you can almost hear the sarcasm in her voice. She's embarrassed. She's despising him as to what he did. Verse 21, and David said unto Michal, "It was before the Lord, which chose me before your father, before all his house, to appoint me ruler over the people of the Lord, over Israel. Therefore will I play before the Lord." In other words, I'm going to dance before the Lord. He has anointed me as king. Verse 22, and I will yet be more vile than this, and will be base in mine own sight, and of the maidservants which thou hast spoken of them shall I be held in honor. Well, now verse 23, judgment's about to come. Verse 23, he says this, "Therefore Michal, the daughter of Saul, who had no child unto the day of her death." In other words, she became barren from that point in time on. For a woman in Israel, especially during that time, to not have children, it was considered to be under divine reproach. In other words, she had done something wrong and she was under divine reproach of God, punished, if you will. So she chastised the king, and you see what happened. She died, never being a mother. And to the Jews of that time, that was a very, very sad tragedy to be barren. So what do we gather from this? Be careful who you criticize. Be careful who you make fun of. Be careful. Please, please, please be careful. So that will conclude this one. We'll see you on the next one. Be blessed and be safe.